So you're going to answer, it's really 4 questions total on your answer sheet. The first, which is the graph, okay? The second is the partial fraction. Actually, so there's 2 partial fractions. 2 partial fractions. And then the big one at the end, the Gaussian elimination with back substitution, and then the Gauss-Jordan. You're going to show all that work and also answer that on your answer sheet. So again, that will be posted by lunch today. I just need to know if I have to take a question off or not, depending on the timing for tomorrow. So here's
there's not going to be a question with like the systems, right? Do like the new 1 and new 2, right?
That's correct, right. So the Gaussian elimination and back substitution and the Gauss-Jordan takes the place of that question this time.
Okay.
Yeah, there's just not enough time. Okay, so any questions on this first page? So the solutions are there, but they're not worked out. Which one?
10.
10. Was that the same for you? No, okay. 22. Just highlight it so I know.
Can you do number 40 and 42?
Okay, so I'm going to start with 3. Here's my systems of equation, right? It's going to force you to do graphing and then obviously the Gauss-Jordan and that stuff at the end. But the in-between of these systems, you have options. You can choose how you want to solve this. So in my opinion, this is easily set up for elimination. I would add these 2 equations and I'd end up with 12x, these cancel, equals 18. And then divide both sides by 12. And I get x equals 18 over 12. And 3 goes into both of those. 6 goes into both of those. It'd be 3 over 2. So that's the x coordinate. Then you want to take that and plug it back in. And you can plug it back into either of them. If I plug it, God bless you. Into the top, 4 times 3 halves minus y equals 1. This goes in twice. 2 times 3 is 6. Equals 1. And then subtract the 6. Negative y equals negative 5. And y equals 5. So you'll enter your answer as fraction form, like that one. This would also have been the same answer because it terminated. It was a decimal that terminated. But on your test, it's going to ask you to do it in fraction form. So you would want to do it 3 halves, 5. It's like your quiz was where you do have to enter in the parentheses, but no spaces. So if I'm typing this in, it's parentheses 3 slash 2, 5, no spaces in there. Don't give me an x equals and a y equals. Okay, don't put any space, no spaces on the whole test. I say it every time, and yet somebody, at least one person has done it every time. Taylor.
So on our test, it won't specify between substitution and...
Correct. It will specify for graphing, and then the last one, the Gauss-Jordan and that stuff only. Yep. Okay, then 10 has x equals y plus 3, and then x equals y squared plus 1. So actually, which method did you pick? Was this yours? No, this was Sai's. Sai, which method did you pick?
I went with substitution.
Okay, so you plugged in for the x, they took this and plugged it in here?
I figured out what like y equals, so I put y equals x minus 3, and then put that into...
Oh, that's the not fun time. Okay, you can do that. So you can, y would equal x minus 3. But then when you plug this in, you've got to FOIL it out. So I'd get x equals, and this would be x minus 3 times x minus 3. X squared minus 3x minus 3x plus 9 plus 1. And then move the x. Oops. And that's negative 5 and negative 2. And then you got to take both of those and plug it back in. So if you're plugging it back in here, that's the first one, 5, 2, and then plug in 2. And that's the second one. So if you could avoid the foiling, I would. Like, I would just take this and plug it in here. You're still going to have to factor it. But at least you don't have to expand and foil and then factor. It's a little less work. All right, 22 said the perimeter of a rectangle is 68 feet and its width is 8/9 times its length. Find the dimensions of the rectangle. So perimeter obviously is a formula that needs to be reviewed because that people messed up on the quiz. Okay, perimeter is twice the length plus twice the width. So if it's 68 feet, 68 equals 2 length plus 2 width. There's the first equation. And then the width is 8/9 the length. So width equals 8/9 the length. And here's my system. So you can, this one's set up for substitution. I can take and plug that in. So 68 would equal 2L plus 2, 8/9 L. I get 68 equals 2L plus 16/9 L. You can actually get rid of the fraction if you want to, and then divide by that 9 again at the end. It's up to you. So if I multiply everything by 9 to get rid of the fraction, I get 612 equals 18L plus 16L. 612 would equal 34L, and then 612 divided by 34, length is 18. So then width is 8/9 of that. So width would equal 8/9 times 18. 9 goes into 18 twice, and the width is 16. I did, just to get rid of the fraction. You didn't have to. You could have subtracted.
I was just like, how do we get?
Oh, you'd have, yeah. You'd have to make this 18 over 9 to do that, which is still the same thing. If you didn't get rid of the 9. Yep. Sure. Good? Yeah, okay. The right side, 42. A total of $36,000 is invested into 2 corporate bonds that pay 6.75 and 7.25% simple interest. The investor wants an annual interest income of $32,045 from the investments. What's the most that can be invested in the 6.75? So I'm setting up a system, a total. So if this, let's say, is the X and this is the Y, the total is 46,000. So 46,000 equals X plus Y. And the interest would be the 0.067X plus 0.0725Y, and I have to move that decimal twice, equals 3245. So this similar, I don't know if this, again, I can't remember if this is on yours or not, but this did come up on the quiz, and mistakes were made by multiplying only by 100 here, or not putting it as 0.0675. You have to move my decimal twice to create the initial equation. And then if you're going to get rid of the decimals, you have to multiply. Those would have to have 4 zeros. So it would be by 10,000. You don't have to do that, okay? If you have a calculator, you can just multiply these out. You can solve using substitution. So who asked for this one? Amanda, was that you?
Yes.
How would you have solved it? Substitution or elimination?
Substitution.
Oh.
I put X equals 46,000 minus Y, and then I plugged it in.
Okay, minus Y. So take this and plug it in here. So 3245 equals 0.0675 times 46,000 minus Y plus 0.0725Y. So 0.0675 times 46, 1, 2, 3. 3105 minus 0.0675Y plus 0.0725Y. So then 0.0725 minus 0.0675, 3245 equals 3105 plus, wait, 0.005, 3245 minus 3105, 140. Oh, this is my Y. And then divide. Oh, I'm so glad I did this. First of all, I mean, I went based on what you had told me, but if you look, right, it actually says what's the most that can be invested in that 6.75, which means I actually wanted to solve for X. So I'm adding an extra step. It's fine, it's an extra step. It does take away from your time, but this is my y, and I wanted to know the 675, which was my x. So I have to do 46,000 minus the 28,000 to get the 18,000, where if you had switched this around, if I had said y equals 46,000 minus x, it would have saved you that last step. So not a big chunk of saved time, but it will save you. And I'll tell you right now, word problems may not ask for both variables, so you definitely want to read, okay? It could be something like this where it just says find one of them. It could be one, like a perimeter one, where maybe it only asks for the length or only asks for the width. So pay attention, because that could save you some time. And let's be honest, this quiz or this test, like especially at the end, the Gaussian and Gaussian elimination, if you go through it all once and no mistakes, you're perfect, golden, not a problem with time. But if you make a mistake there and you have to go back and redo it, now you're eating into a big chunk of time, which is why you want to take as little time on these as possible. So if you can catch it from the beginning to solve for x, then you don't have that last step. That's going to save you a little bit of time. Okay, so 6. It said to use substitution, but I'll tell you right now that you can use either substitution or elimination. So if you had the choice, who asked for this? Gianna, right? Which one would you choose?
I'd probably do elimination.
Elimination. Would you get rid of your fractions?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so you're going to multiply everything in the top one by 5. I get negative 5x plus 2y equals 3. Multiply everyone on the bottom one by 5, and I get negative 5x plus y equals negative 4. So if you're going to do elimination, it'd be easy just to change like this to negative, multiply by negative. I get 5x minus 2y equals negative 3. These cancel, negative y equals negative 7, so y equals 7. And then take it and plug it back in, and it can go into any of them. So if I grab the bottom one here, negative 5x plus 7 equals negative 4, negative 5x equals negative 11, and x equals 11 over 5. So you'll enter your answer just like that. No spaces, no x equals and y equals, okay? You want the parentheses, the first number, comma, the second number. If the answers are fractions, you'll type them in like this, just like that, okay? Be very careful. You won't use a calculator on there to give me a decimal. You want to keep it exact, which means fraction form. I promised you no fractions at the end on the big one, but you could see fractions on these smaller ones. They're not going to be horrible. Yep.
Can you do number 86 and 94?
Yeah, hang on, let me get there. So let's do the first page first. Any other questions on, you invest $5,000 in a greenhouse. The planter, potting soil, and seed for each plant costs $6.43, and the selling price of each plant is $12.68. How many plants must you sell to break even? So this is my break even one, right? And this is a great question because on your test, I did not give you the cost and the revenue equations. So you have to come up with your own, just like this one. So anything associated with a cost, which is the investment and the cost of each seed, that's cost. So cost would be $5,000 plus $6.43 times each seed. And then you sell it for $12.68. That's the revenue. So you are going to have to do this on your test as well. It's not going to give you the cost and the revenue. Then to find the break-even point, we set the cost equal to the revenue. So 5,000 would plus 6.43x would equal 12.68x. Subtract the 6.43 from both sides. So 12.68 minus 6.43 is 6.25. If that ends up being negative, you did something wrong. That's how you know you set up your cost and revenue functions wrong. And divide, and I get that there's 800 even plants. Now remember on my break even, if that had said 800.1, I would have rounded up to the 801. Because this is a nice even round number, I just keep it as 800. And the break even, you only solve for x. Any other from this page before I move on to the next one? All right, second page, and this had the repeated factor. That's this one. That's not on your test. The repeated factor is not on the test, but, and I put it in the notes on the review, but a third variable is on your test, okay? So if my denominator, let's say I had 2x minus 1 equals, I know, I don't need you to see that work though. That is what I want you to see. So I think we're okay. It's blurry, but they're on, like this is 3x plus 2 minus 4x plus 4. That's number 55. That's the answer to 55. And then 56, the answer is 1 over x plus 1 minus 2 over x plus 2. And it's, what I have open right now is posted on Canvas also. But again, don't worry about the repeated factor. You do need to know something like,
So by third variable, do you mean that there's gonna be like a C? Or just
Yep.
like-
yep. So if you had something like this, I would start by factoring, right? How do I start factoring that? Take out an x. Then what?
X minus 3 plus, sorry, x plus 1.
Good. So I have three terms, a over x, b over x minus 3, c over x plus 1. So the a is missing the x minus 3 and the x plus 1. The b is missing the x and the x plus 1. And the c is missing the x and the x minus 3. So now I only focus on my numerators. 2x minus 1 equals a, x plus 3, x plus 1, x minus 3, sorry. That would be disastrous. Minus 3, x plus 1, plus b, x, x plus 1, plus c, x, x minus 3. Then one at a time, I'm going to cancel them out. And we said, remember, it's much easier to figure this out from your factor denominator, especially when there's 3. If that's equal to 0, that means I have to cancel out by multiplying or plugging in a 0. Set this equal to 0, and I'd be plugging in 3. Set this equal to 0, and I'd be plugging in negative 1. So one at a time, I'm going to plug those in. So 2 times 0 minus 1, and then here's my time saver. Think about which ones these, God bless you, will cancel out. If I plug a 0 in here and here, they're not going to cancel out, so the a stays. But if I plug a 0 here, the b is gone. If I plug a 0 there, the c is gone. So I don't need the other two. This is going to save you time because trust me, you don't want to have to write all that out every time. So I get 0 minus 1 equals a, negative 3 times 1, negative 1 equals a times negative 3, and a equals 1/3. Then I go to plug in positive 3. 2 times 3 minus 1 equals, plug in positive 3 here, and the a goes away. Plug in positive 3 here, and the c goes away, which means the b is the one that stays. And then the last one, negative 1, 2 times negative 1 minus 1. Plug in negative 1 here, the a cancels out. Plug in negative 1 here, the b cancels out, which means the c stays. And then I plug them all back into my original fractions. So a is 1/3, b is 5/12, c is negative 3/4, and we cannot, I repeat, cannot leave the fractions in the numerator. So I get 1 over 3 times x plus 5 over 12 times x minus 3 minus 3 over 4x plus 1. So that, I think that's an 8-point question, and you will lose half by leaving your fractions in the top. Okay, and some of you did that on the quiz. Don't make that mistake again.
Would it be wrong to distribute in to get like 3 out?
You just don't need to, and anytime you can save yourself some time, I would do it.
Okay.
Yeah, you won't lose points there. It's just extra work you don't need to do.
But you said there's not gonna be any repeating.
There will, no repeating. So 2 partial fractions, one with 2 and one with 3, but no repeating. Okay, and then the Gaussian elimination with back substitution. Oh, this is so blurry. So 86 was no solution, which, let's be honest, you won't have a no solution on the, that would be way too lucky. You won't have a no solution on your systems, okay? 92, the answer there is 1/5, -3/5, and 1/10. And 94 is -2, -1, and 1. I will also tell you flat out that you're going to get whole numbers. So there might be like fractions in the method on the system on the way there, but your answer should be whole numbers for your systems of 3 variables. Not like just your system of 2 variables, you might get a fraction. But the systems of 3 variables, definitely all whole numbers. And it's going to be like solve it to get it to row echelon form, solve it using back substitution, then rewrite your row echelon form, and then continue on to Gauss Jordan. So just like the example that started yesterday's class, just like that. And it's 20 points for the first one, and then it's 10 for the Gauss Jordan. So just that one question is 30 points of your test. You don't want to A, run out of time and not get to it, B, make a mess of it, okay? There will be partial credit given there, but you have to show every single step, okay? Again, if you magically get to an answer, you'll magically lose those points.
Mr. Chris,
Yeah.
so how would you get no solution on a question?
That's if the lines cancel out. I don't know if it's there. All the variables, I don't know if you can see it. All the variables canceled out here in the bottom, and so we can't solve. Remember we had one of these like in the homework, right, where it was all zeros, and you're like, well, how do you solve it? You can't. Because this would give you would have gotten y plus 3z equals 2, and then x equals -3, and that's not enough information to solve. But again, you won't get a no solution. Okay, so 92. 1, 1, 4, 0, 2, 1, 2, 0, -1, 1, -2, -1. Okay, so Taylor, first of all, I'm assuming you kept it in the way that it is because the 1's already in the top left, right? Then did you do -2 times the first one, or did you do 2 times the third one?
Oh, okay, yeah, no.
What'd you do?
I did R1 plus R3.
And replaced R3?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all right. So 1, 1, 4, 0, 2, 1, 2, 0, 0, 2, 2, -1. Then what? So now you did -2 R1.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, then 2R2 plus R3.
I did -2 R1 plus R3.
Ah, that's where you lost it.
Okay.
So you can't combine row 1 and row 3 because you'll lose this 0.
Okay.
This last 0, you have to combine row 2 and row 3. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So 2R2 plus R3 is what I would have done. 2, 0, -2, -12, 0, 0, 2, 2, -1, 0, 0, -10, -1. So 1, 1, 4, 0, 0, negative 1, negative 6, 0, 0, 0, negative 10, negative 1. So I can do two things here to get it in row echelon. This by a negative 1 and this by a negative 1/10. 1, 1, 4, 0, 0, 1, 6, 0, 0, 0, 1, and 1/10. So now I've got x plus y plus 4z equals 0, y plus 6z equals 0, and z equals 1/10. So there's my first 1/10 is one of the answers. Take it, plug it in here. Y plus 6 times 1/10 equals 0. 6 would equal, or y plus, this would be 3/5 equals 0, and y would equal negative 3/5. And then take those and plug them into the beginning. X plus a negative 3/5 plus 4 times 1/10 equals 0. X minus 3/5 plus 2/5 and x equals 1/5. So I told you, and I promise you that that's the case. There won't be fractions in your answers on the test. However, there could be in the process. So don't get scared of it if it's in the process, okay? So that would have been the first, and that would have been the 20 question. And I don't know how long that took me, but if you're careful, that should not take you a long time. If you have not practiced this and you are going to try to figure this out as you go, I promise you, you will not finish this test. If you've practiced this and you're careful and you write out your steps, you can do this relatively quickly and then you've got plenty of time. But that's going to be the difference between who finishes this test and who doesn't. I'll tell you right now. You can, there's no reason to have notes for that stuff. Like you can have one little simple page of notes that help you with maybe like your what's no solution, what's all real numbers, what to do for your partial fractions. But other than that, you should not be digging through notes. You'll never finish, okay? Maybe a note on a break even. Make sure you round up. Maybe like that kind of stuff. Anything other than that, you won't finish. So now I'm going to rewrite my row echelon form over here. 1, 1, 4, 0, 0, 1, 6, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1/10. And I want to finish this again using Gauss-Jordan. So I need zeros here, here, and here. So let's say I want to get the first one, this one. I have to use row 2 and row 3. Otherwise I'm going to lose the 0 I have in that first column. So I'm going to do negative 6, row 3 plus row 2. 0, 0, negative 6, negative 6/10, which you can reduce. You don't need to. At some point, you're going to reduce it. And I get 0, 1, 0, negative 6/10, which is the same thing as negative 3/5. That takes over my middle row. Now I need a 0 where the 4 is. I have to use row 1 and row 3 because there's no way I can change 0 in that second row to make it 4. So negative 4 R3 plus R1. 0, 0, negative 4, negative 2/5. Again, you can change it there or you can change it later. It doesn't matter. 1, 1, 4, 0. 1, 1, 0, negative 2/5. And that takes the place of row 1. 1, 1, 0, negative 2/5. 0, 1, 0, negative 3/5. 0, 0, 1, 1/10. Last 0 is this one. I have to use row 1 and row 2, otherwise I don't have anything to change the 0 to. So negative 1, row 2 plus row 3. Plus row 1. 1, 1, 0, negative 2/5. And that takes the place of row 1. And there's my same solutions that I got before. 1/5, negative 3/5, and 1/10. And you'll rewrite that out again as your x and your y and your z. So all of that, again, is on your answer sheet. All of that will be graded on your answer sheet. All of that work needs to be shown. It's a great way for you to check your answer because it should be the same answer again. And that's 10 points, so don't leave it blank. Like, I've seen people go through all this work and then erase it. Don't do that, ever, okay? Even if it's wrong work, at least if there's work, I can give you something. You leave it blank, it's 0. All right, folks, so my advice is, again, I would practice as much of it as you need to from the practice test that's on Canvas. There's some word problems built in there. There's some graphing of the systems if you need practice on that. If that's where you feel like you need the practice, there's a 3 variable equations. There's the partial fractions. All the stuff's on there. Just do what you need to do. And be on time tomorrow, especially you lovely little folks from home. I will start without you, and you will lose the time on your test. All right, bye, guys. Have a fantastic day. Madeline, the answer to your email was yes. I will see you after school. Use that office hour link again. Yeah.
The graphing one, is that using the side, what, I forget.
It's just the 2 lines, and where they cross is your answer.
Okay.
Yeah. Bye, guys. Have a fantastic day.
So if it's like at, like that, then would be 173. Okay.
Even if it was like 172.01, you round it up. Unless it is dead even. Have a great day. 172, you round it up. Yeah. Have a fantastic day, Maria. Thank you. Good morning. Yeah. Yeah. Gotta love a 3-day weekend.
Let's learn about momentum.
I do both. All right, so Jacob, obviously, you would rewrite.
But on the test, they'll say which one to do.
It's gonna do exactly what we're about to do.
Okay.
It's gonna say write it, solve it using Gaussian elimination back substitution, which is what we're gonna do first.
Okay.
All right, so Jacob, what'd you do?
What did we try to make the 3 0?
Yeah, so you already have the 1 here, so I wanna make a 0 here.
Divide by 2.
Nope,
All right, times it by 1.
nope. I gotta cancel it out. How do I get rid of 3?
Times 3.
Nope. Oh, what times 3 though?
The
Top one.
So you could do top 1 by negative 3 or bottom 1 by positive 3. Yes?
The bottom.
Okay. So Jacob, did you start? I just want to do what you did if you got stuck.
I didn't.
Okay. So we're going to do 3 times row 3 plus row 2. Negative 3, 3, negative 9, negative 6, 3, negative 1, negative 1, negative 6. 0, negative 2, negative 10, negative 12. That replaces row 2.
So, am I not allowed to, like, divide that by 1, 3?
That doesn't get you a 0, though. It gets you a 1.
And then I can combine it.
Why would you? God bless you. But then you're going to have a fraction, 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 right?
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't necessarily wrong.
No, technically we don't divide, we multiply by the reciprocal in matrix speak, but you can do that. You just, bringing fractions in when you don't need them is probably not something I'd advise. That's all. All right, now I want a 0 here where that negative 1 is. So how can I get that? So 1, negative 3, 1, 2, negative 1, 1, negative 3, negative 2, 0, negative 2, negative 2, 0. And replace row 3 with that. Okay, now I want a 0 here. Okay, negative row 2 plus row 3. 0, 2, 10, 12. Was there a fraction in this one? No. Made a mistake, and I want you to see, 1, how costly it is, 2, how quick it is to fix it. I told you at the beginning they're going to be whole numbers. They're going to be whole numbers. So as soon as I got to this step and I saw that 8 does not go into 12, I'm like, crap, where did my mistake go wrong, right? So backtrack. It's not writing it out. It was up here. This here should have been a positive 2, which changes this to positive 2, which changes this to positive 2, and then I don't need this step. I could just add them. I didn't have to multiply by negative. So I could do row 1, row 2 plus row 3. So the perk to making sure you write out your steps is something just like that, okay? We're going to make lots of mistakes. You want to minimize them as much as you can. So now 1, negative 3, 1, 2, 0, 2, negative 10, negative 12, 0, 0, negative 12, negative 12. Okay, now this, I want to be a 1, so I can multiply by negative 1/12.
You can multiply the row 2 by 1/2.
1. And I need this to be a 1, so I multiply by its reciprocal 1/2.
That's row echelon.
Yep, this is row echelon. So now I write my equation from it. Take the 1, plug it in. Take the negative 1 and the 1, plug it in. Oops. And there's my system. Negative 2, negative 11, 1. Negative 1, 1, sorry. So that's your 20-point check part. Check point, right? I got it into, good morning, into row echelon, and then I use the back substitution to solve it. Then the exact wording on the test is going to say, rewrite the row echelon form from the question before, and then continue to solve it using Gauss-Jordan. So I'm going to go back to my row echelon, which is here. I'm going to carefully rewrite it because, again, 1 missed negative. The whole thing continues wrong. Now I need 3 more zeros. To get the negative 5 to be a 0, I have to use row 2 and row 3. If I pair it with row 1, I lose the 0 at the front.
Why do you have to do it again when you already have the answer?
Because you're doing the other method.
You can multiply the third one.
You're going to get the same answer twice for 2 questions. So I can multiply, sorry, go ahead, Brian.
You can multiply the third one by 5.
Good. 5 row 3 plus row 2. 0, 0, 5, 5, 0, 1, negative 5, negative 6. 0, 1, 0, negative 1. Replaces row 2. Now I still need a 0 here. And to do that, I have to use row 3. So I could do negative 1 row 3 plus row 1. replace row 1 with that. And then the last 0 I need is -3. And to get there, I have to use row 2 because there's nothing I could change the 0 in the bottom. So I do 3 row 2 plus row 1. And that replaces row 1. And then x equals -2, y equals -1, and z equals 1. Same answer, 2 different methods, okay? And I don't want you to start all the way back from the beginning. You won't finish. So you're starting at your row echelon form and then continuing to get the other 3 zeros.
On the test, we'll say which one to do, or do we just?
It literally says solve the exact same wording. So yesterday's example I did it, this one I just said it. It's the exact same wording. Solve this system using Gaussian elimination with back substitution. Answer that question. Go to the next question. Rewrite your row echelon form from the previous question and continue to solve it using Gauss-Jordan.
Oh, so we use row echelon to find the solution, and then we have to continue and do the Gaussian. Okay.
Yep. Like we just did.
So basically do both.
Like we just did and like I did yesterday's example too.
So
Same
basically
thing.
do both.
Correct. You just don't have to do Gauss-Jordan all the way from the beginning. You wouldn't have time.